Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. Okay, let me get that out of the way quickly. My guest this morning, we've got Prince Ebola Martins. Prince Ebola Martins is a national coordinator of an NGO, and we'll be talking about that very, very shortly. There's also Mr. Dipo Akinrinlade. Yep. Mr. Akinrinlade is a socio-political commentator, shall we say. And then also, he's also visiting us from the diaspora. He was in town for the election, among other things, and then here we find ourselves. Okay, so Prince Martins, National Coordinator, Buhari Osinbajo Mandate Group. That's probably a group, clearly you know, your own direction is determined. Who you would like to win is determined. Never mind what the electorates are thinking about, but this is where you are working.
But for a good reason.
Of course. We'll come to that. But let me just talk with Dipo a bit, because you're in from the diaspora. You came in from the UK in particular. Election was high up on your agenda, and then this. What do you think? What do you think of the whole situation? Because we were all surprised on Saturday. On Saturday, revelation came through the chairman. And then Monday, yesterday, an unprecedented public televised caucus meeting. Give me your impressions.
Thank you, Mr. Yori. I think Yori, I mean, I watch this program, so I can call you Uncle Yori at times. Yeah, so permit me. Yeah, I think for most people it was quite disappointing because everybody was looking forward to the 16th
postponement.
Of February. Yeah, the postponement. We thought by now we should be knowing who is going to be the next president. I mean,
of course.
For the second term, so to speak, or going forward. So it was a bit disappointing. Like you mentioned, I kind of have experiences of both sides of the world, and you probably would have find out happening, over there. Especially very close to election, somebody coming up and calling it off,
but when you look at the reasons, because the way you just put it, and I'm particularly interested to get your perspective, seeing as you're one of us, but spend a lot of time elsewhere in a different environment. What did you think? Well, I imagine all of us were shocked, so that would have been, we had a uniform experience. But when you now heard the rationale later on in the afternoon, and by Monday morning, you were able to hear from the party directly again, what did you think?
I mean, my personal opinion, I don't think it made any sense, to be honest with you. Whatever reasons they gave were things they were aware of before
the election being postponed.
Yes, I mean, it was clear cut. So, and I know up until some few hours before the election was supposed to be to hold, the commission was still talking about, I mean, it's going to hold whatever the case is. So, where did that come from? It was a bit disappointing. I mean, in average other clients, as they say, you probably will have tendered this resignation.
Okay.
I would have expected him to do that. Not that I expected him to resign, but at least as a show of saying, look, I understand the magnitude of what has happened. And I can tell you, if he had done that, quite a number of people have come up to say, you can't resign. And that would have been more honorable, rather than just thinking, what, you can do whatever you want to do.
Okay. Prince Ebon, what do you think about the whole matter about campaigning? The election has been postponed, but you can't campaign anymore, which we've since, it's behind us now. Clearly mistakes were made, but people sort of knew on that day that, hang on, this is what the Constitution, this is what the Electoral Act says in relation to this. You have to stop, I think 24 hours or so, 24, 48 hours before, you have to stop all your campaigning. So why INEC in the thick of the moment had said that no, there shall be no campaigning, but all of that has now. Were you a bit surprised with that?
Well, for me, I think the most important thing is that the writing was eventually done. That's what is most important to me. You are aware, and I'm sure as a media house, you must have seen a lot of videos going all over social media of some predetermined election results. I mean, you've seen a couple of it. So if the INEC decides to postpone the election based on some of these facts, and of course some other area of security, I think we should respect that. This is not the first time. No, I'm just, I say others. No,
it was clear.
Yes,
this has nothing whatsoever to do with security.
Know. Maybe if you allow me to finish, you'll get what I'm saying.
That you mentioned the word security.
No, security is not only when you carry arms. Security of the vote itself, of the ballot and all that. It's not only when you carry arms or when you bomb that is security. So if I use the word security, I'm only just telling you that, in securing the votes, some decision has to be taken. So it's over now. I mean, in 2011, the PDP-led government did the same. In 2015, it happens. And they give reasons, and we still go ahead and do the same thing. I'm not saying it is right, but if there are good reasons for some certain decision to be taken, I think we should respect it and then forge ahead as a country. Even in the United States, everything is not perfect there. Even in their last election, they are still fighting Trump up to today. So it's not all that it has to be 100%. So
are we on the right track now?
Yes, we are.
We're back on track.
Yes, at least the election is going to take place on Saturday.
Yes, and we have between now and Thursday, to talk about it. So in terms of either no more campaigning or we shall campaign between Monday and and that Thursday, stuff can be done. Value can be extracted from it, right?
Yes, I can tell you, Uncle.
Electoral value.
The truth about it is, this is also an opportunity for Nigerians to be able to still reevaluate the leadership and all those who are clamoring to lead this country. And from my own angle and from the few people that I've been able to sit with, I think this election should be based on the fact on the ground. Shouldn't be based on propaganda. It should be based on the fact. It should be based on the fact that when this government came to power, crude oil went as low as $28 per barrel, as against the previous government that is almost above $100 per barrel. So if you check the thing that this government has been able to do within this less than 4 years, putting together the Mambila Power Project, making sure that our refinery is working. I'm sure a lot of people are not even aware that the Nigerian refinery is working better than it has ever been for the past 16 years. So now, again, you can also see all the road construction, rehabilitation of roads and all that. And also, let me tell you, it's a thing of a joy when some of us are able to enter train from Abuja to Kaduna, from Lagos to Abeokuta. This transition shouldn't be stopped. I mean, for so many years, previous government couldn't do this. Let me also tell you, it took a serious political will for President Muhammadu Buhari to execute this TSA. It was there before. They couldn't, because somebody knows that if they do it, it will also affect them. So a man that is not corrupt find it very necessary that I need to do this because it's not going to affect me anyway, because I don't have any ED money anywhere. So I think that with the way this government is going, this government should be giving all the support. And by the way, if you have a president who is a devoted Muslim, a man that has the fear of God, you have the vice president, a devoted Christian who is a pastor, who have the mind, the heart of God and the heart of gold, are you going to leave them and vote for Satan? Because if you sincerely have...
Satan is not on the polls.
No, I know. I'm just trying to give some explanation.
Yeah,
I'm not
but
referring to others as Satan.
No, I know you're not. But you just talked about certain individuals. Are you going to leave those individuals and then vote for Satan? I understand your meaning, but I just needed to say that Satan is not on the ballot.
I know.
It's not an option. No. And you have just explained that you didn't mean to indicate that
No, it's just an expression.
Oh, okay.
It's just an expression. I'm just trying to let you know that if you have people who have the fear of God, people who even the international community will tell you that these people are not corrupt.
Okay. We
should, Nigerians, the youth, the women, should look at it critically and let us all support these people to make sure that they continue to do this good work.
Okay. And now, coming from because when I introduced you, I spoke about you being of the Buhari Osinbajo mandate group. Tell me about that mandate group. What does it mean? What does that organization mean? I mean, it seems straightforward enough. Clearly, it shows the side you're on, Buhari Osinbajo mandate group. But which mandate? Who gave you the mandate? Or is it their mandate? Well, just how did the name come about, Buhari Osinbajo mandate group?
Well, it is... you know, we went about talking to different people, the masses. We went through, as you can see, I'm sure you covered the rally we organized in Osun State. You can see thousands, tens of thousands of people that attended the rally.
Okay.
So these are all the people who came together and said, we have to keep the mandate of Nigeria, because we know that a lot of people, including some of their friends who are members of the international community, I'm very sure, and I'm sure we all know that a lot of people do not want us to live well. Okay,
so admirers of these guys, of Buhari,
of the good work,
of these politicians, liking their work, you guys formed yourselves of your own into a mandate group.
Yes, to support them, to tell people,
and project their mandate.
Yes, to tell people the truth about what is happening.
Okay.
You know, at times it baffles me when a lot of people run a lot of phony propaganda. One of my friends once asked me, oh, there's no money in circulation. And I started laughing. I said, you mean you don't have money? He said, yes. I said, okay, let me just answer your question. Is the president of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, not paying salaries to all civil servants? Yes, he's paying. Is the president not paying contractors? Yes, he's paying. Is the president not, giving all state and local government allocation to state and local government? Yes, it's doing. So why is it that you are saying there is no money? What is missing there? What is missing is very straightforward. Because all the loopholes where people can loot and have free money has been blocked.
Okay.
Of course, it's
I hear you.
When you destroy a house, you and I know, this TVC headquarters, if you destroy it, within 1 hour you can destroy this house. But it will take you years to rebuild this house. This is exactly what is happening. It will take a lot. What has been destroyed, the President Buhari cannot just come overnight and then boom, everything start working. It's a process, and that is the process that we have started. Before now, we import all the foods we eat, including rice, including even tomatoes, we bring it from Cotonou. Everything, including toothpick.
Okay.
Now this country have started the process of producing their own. We may not be able to produce the whole thing at a go, but we have started. This is what we shouldn't allow anybody to stop. Because countries where we are importing rice will not be happy that we are no longer, doing that. A lot will not be happy, but it doesn't matter. What is important is for us to start the process of developing, and this we shouldn't stop.
Okay. Thank you very much, Prince Ebola Martins. And you took, I think, like 2 periods there. So you took your period, you took the next period. So I remember when we were in school, and sometimes you would be double period. you took a double period. But what do you think of the issues that you have heard since? Well, most Nigerians abroad, in the UK especially, that UK is just like an area of Lagos, of Nigeria. Many Nigerians think of it as one of our areas. So what I really meant by all of that is that you guys keep abreast of what's going on, the news and all of that. So from the UK and then needing to be in town, what did you think of what the issues were? Or what did you understand the issues to be in this contest, this political contest? What did you understand the issues that were at stake? And perhaps you could share with us, some of the impressions you have as to how focused and clear-sighted we are about this election.
From my own
from your own
understanding. I think the issues were...
Because you're speaking essentially for diaspora. Not that you're not speaking for them, but you are of them. And so your viewpoint interests me.
Yes, and how also it impacts on me, because my family, as in the extended family, is very much in Nigeria. And I've listened to different campaigns, I've watched programs on TV, and I think it boils down to issue of character. and what you could get from that. So in terms of leadership, who can you trust, who can you not trust, where can the person lead us to, where can the person not lead us to,
Yes.
which is very critical.
So trust, you think trust has come up?
It's an issue
because
of trust.
I think I would agree with you, because when you threw that up, and I say, now that I think about it, one hears conversations revolving around trust.
Yeah.
So people are going to have to decide who they can trust.
Yes. And I think that's very important too. I mean, I read a book some time ago. It's called The Speed of Trust, and to tell you how important trust is. The book makes it very clear, and if you also read it, you'll find out that where there's no trust, speed is reduced and cost goes high. But where there's trust, speed increases and cost goes low. And some of the things we're facing in Nigeria boils down to trust. If you trust somebody, you don't spend too much time trying to convince that person. So you don't need to probably get the services of a lawyer or an investigator just to find out who that person is, because that's already increases your trust, and it takes time. And without trying to side in with any party in particular, I think one of the things that people, and a large proportion of people in diaspora feel about this government, despite all its frailties, is that you have somebody that you can trust to a very large extent. It may not be a good orator, it may not be the kind of person that you think you want to be on the podium, but in terms of deliverables and in the leaps that he's doing it, I think there's a lot of trust.
He stands for something.
Oh yes, he stands for exactly.
He stands for something. People
can relate.
What he stands for resonates with people.
Exactly.
This whole matter. No, he's a human being.
Exactly.
He's not a god. He's a human being. But most people, that aspect of him, the trustworthiness. People think that this here. There might be other issues, because we just said nobody is perfect, but you think that resonates a lot. And so this is something that no doubt his admirers, and those who intend to vote for him will be emphasizing. And especially they'll be pushing that whole trust issue, because that's one thing that I think a lot of people think has wounded us in this country, because essentially what the electorate does is that it trusts its leaders. Once you become whoever you are as the big man in charge, you trust them to want to do the best good that they can for the generality of the public. So no doubt, those opponents are going to be saying that, well, they have answers for that as well. I don't think anybody can share President Buhari's platform of trust. Not in this particular dispensation. They'll wait for another one, declare it, and then we'll compare. But for now, I think he has that. He's pretty much locked down that part of it. So you can only just talk about other things.
Not even only in Nigeria.
I know.
Even in other part of Africa.
It's a reputation that has gone far and wide.
If you can check the report before President Muhammadu Buhari was invited to the ICC, if you check the report very well, even all the embassies have it already, you will know that President Muhammadu Buhari remains the only man, dead or alive, that his hands are quite clean in terms of corruption. A man who was a former governor, former minister of petroleum, former chairman of Petroleum Trust Fund. He never added one building to what he has. He never, you can see, a man like this is a man we should all cherish.
We cherish him, but I imagine, when I say we cherish him, I really mean that every Nigerian cherishes an honest, upright man, whoever his name, whatever his name happens to be. They can cherish the nation. But the question I was going to put is that it's one thing to cherish, it's another thing to follow.
Yes.
How many people are following that which they cherish?
If I can come in there.
Please.
I think this week, the postponement of election actually affords people, mostly undecided voters, an opportunity to actually clear their minds and see through all the
sort of
cloud.
reset.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because what I have observed is as if the politicians have taken over, unexpectedly so.
Yes.
So even people who are not really political, who are not affiliated to any particular political party, and are not benefiting from them, are almost being swayed to think in a certain direction. Not looking at the facts on the ground.
That's what the game is about.
Yeah,
it's about campaigning.
So for me, what is important to me is those guys, actually. If they're watching now, it's about them. They are the ones that are going to decide. Looking at how
you
their
mean
lives...
the general public?
Not the general public.
The candidates.
The people who have not really made up their mind. And there are people like that. Because I was in Ghana last week, and on my way from the airport, the guy who picked me up, I was asking him, what are your plans? We didn't know they were going to cancel the election anyway. And he said, sir, do you know what? I still don't know who to vote for.
There's still some undecided.
Quite many. I mean, there are a lot of polls all around. And I asked the guy some few questions. If you ask yourself, really, I mean, what were the issues before the election? At least I know it for one. One of the issues was power. So I said, have you experienced improvement in power where you live? He said, yes. I think he said some other things. And I said, look, if that's the case, then go with that rather than going with the jingles. You know, if what you have asked for, what you were looking forward to, it may not be in its totality, but you've seen a semblance of it. And probably that's where I kind of pivot to what he said about continuity. And this is my own personal opinion. I have not seen a lot of countries where you keep chopping presidents at every time and have strides developmentally. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. So you need to be able to say, you know what, if these guys are doing this and you could see progress in a certain way, I mean, giving them, I'm not a campaign manager, I need to say that up front, but I've got a stake in Nigeria.
Sure.
You know,
And the stakes,
I'm saying it as a Nigerian, to be honest with you.
And the stakes are very high.
They're very high.
You know, they're very high.
Yeah, and if we miss it now, because I think every time we get to the crux of making a proper turn in Nigeria, we tend to cry out and say, look, we are tired. We probably have what we want, the military, or we want somebody else. Then somebody else comes in, we go through the whole thing again, we say we are tired. And we really never do anything, you know. So I think it's time, especially for those who have not decided, to ask themselves, I mean, are we making progress? Do we need to give this government extra time to make the progress they need to make? I mean, 4 years is not a long time. When was it? 2015? We are in 2019 now. And if you think, you know what, these guys, after 8 years, I don't know what to use, I mean, the wrong word,
well,
then
from the point of view,
time,
from the point of view of the ruling party, they need another 4 years, I have heard them say, to consolidate on the gains that we have made. We come back to this whole matter of trust, you know, that we talked about, and then we talk about corruption, because there are those who believe that if only we could be sincere in our leadership, then a lot of the problems that we are encountering would actually disappear. But that is a challenge, because one man's truth is another man's playing difficult. This is, you know, that's let it just be said. That's how it is. One man's doing the right thing is another man's wahala is too much, Ojari. That's why I asked the question. No Buhari bar none. Maybe even throw in Osinbajo there. Throw that team down. But the question that some Nigerians are asking is, how many of us, the rest of us, are ready to line up behind them?
Well,
apart from with mouth only.
Let me tell you something that will surprise you. A few days ago, about 2 weeks ago, thereabout, we met with the president. We just went to see. Do you know what the president said to every one of us? I'm sorry, I cannot use the resources of the country to fund my election. If you believe in me, you believe what I'm doing, you go support me. But I'm not going to use the money of this country. I sat down where I was seated. I looked deep down into the eyes of the president. I said, this is what this country has been missing for years. God gave us this man. We should pray and cherish this man forever. You can see so far. You just make your inquiries. How many of the presidential support groups were able to get 100 naira? Because no. He said no. That is where to start from.
So you, for instance now, the Buhari Osinbajo mandate group.
Yes.
You guys have not got any remuneration or allowances. Yeah, allowances. You guys have not got anything.
Not even 100 naira. And I can also speak for other support groups. Not even 100 naira. I am telling you. Not even 100 naira to any of them.
So you guys are working off your own resources.
Because we believe.
Off your own resources.
Well, yes,
you have to go up and down, you went to see the president, you had to pay your own way.
We did.
You had to pay your way back home again.
Yes, every one of us.
You had to pay, if you needed to stay overnight, the accommodation.
That's what we've been doing.
You had to do it all.
That's what we've been doing. And I'll tell you one of the major reasons why we made up our mind, dead or alive, we are going to see it through. We are going to make sure that it's
going to be alive.
It comes. I mean,
let's leave
it's
not a do or die affair.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is
to
save this country, to save this country, we need to make some sacrifice, and that's what we are doing. You and I were all alive in this country for the past 16 years before this government came to power. The crude oil money rose above $100 per barrel. You know, 1,000 megawatts was not added to the national grid. You and I knew. When this government came to power, the equipment they bought and kept at the port, for what? Doing nothing. For 16 years, no good road. For 16 years, no electricity. For 16 years, education, boom. All of them, after they destroyed the educational sector, they started building their own universities. And I'm sure you know, one of the university now in Yola, you cannot send your child to that same university. They destroy all the system. They destroy everything. Now, they want someone to come in less than four years to just put the whole thing together. Even Obama couldn't do that when they had issues in the U.S.
Although, let it be said, many Nigerians have universities. So when you picked out the one in Yola,
no, I will mention others.
You know, when you picked out the one in Yola,
I didn't mention any name.
You didn't, but Atiku Abubakar's
No, I didn't mention that.
I know you did. I say you did?
No,
I'm telling you.
There are a lot of universities, even in Yola.
Okay.
It's not. I'm not mentioning any. I'm not.
You.
I'm just saying.
You weren't taking a jibe at Atiku's university.
No, it's for us to check. I'm not saying. I'm just giving it for us to check to find out ourselves. What I'm just trying to say is this: you can see, after all the entire system was destroyed, somebody felt there's a need for another man to come and in what you cannot do in 16 years, for one man to come and do in less than 4 years. This is very unfair.
It's not going to.
And that's why we are saying that right now, the process of development has started. Now, most importantly, food production.
You know, it's interesting what you just said, that, look, the president, when they went, to see the president said, I ain't going to use one kobo of public funds to further this thing. If you guys want, go ahead and campaign. I'm delighted. I'm happy. I feel honored. But the usual, maybe it's an African sort of thing where just for being in this kind of a group, you got it made, sort of. That kind of a thing, it goes back to there's no money in this town again, referring to times when things used to run a bit. Now, the Nation newspaper this morning talks about a revelation of a $3 million per state cash for vote plot allegation. It's out there in the headlines. Allegation, no, there. Let me put that allegation. No. But it's a PDP $3 million per state cash for vote plot. I don't know whoever the source of that story. They must know what they're doing to have put it out there. But these kind of funds that our people have come to be expectant of when it comes to this festival that we refer to as campaign season, it's very much it's evidenced more by its absence these times around. Somebody opined that where are those dollars that we had that we saw the other time? None of that. You coming from yonder, are these things African? Have you seen indications of that kind of a thing over there? I mean, is it like carnival time too when your elections come around?
I mean, there's definitely no carnival time because their elections happen on a weekday. So nobody even knows anything is happening. I mean, you go about your normal business, you come back from work, the polls are open up until 10 p.m. So nobody's chasing anybody, nobody's getting securities and police to watch after ballot. I mean, it's as simple as can be. And so every time I hear about, electronic voting and things like that, I wonder, where's that from? I mean, I vote, and there's nothing electronic about it. You get your ballot paper, ticket, drop it in the box, and nobody's chasing you. But, I mean, for me, what's of interest, talking about the Nation's newspaper that you just mentioned, is that, and it goes back to the guys who are the real people on the ground. there will be a lot of things flying around in between now and the election. But we need to be able to kind of sift through it and figure out what exactly is happening. For the interest for me coming from the UK is about how do we deal with the vulnerable in the society. Talking about the Nation's newspaper that you just mentioned, is that, and it goes back to the guys who are the real people on the ground. There will be a lot of things flying around in between now and the election. But we need to be able to kind of sift through it and figure out what exactly is happening. For the interest for me coming from the UK is about how do we deal with the vulnerable in the society. That was the first thing that struck my heart when I first moved over, how the disabled, the weak, the poor are actually taken care of.
Okay.
And I think for the first time, you're seeing that come true in Nigeria.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to put you on pause there, as they say. We've got to go on a quick break. We'll be right back. We'll continue. And, of course, we'll include your calls. Stay with us, please. Welcome back. The election is back on again, and we have a few more days, maybe 2-3 more days to campaign, contrary to where we were before, but all of that has now been sorted out. And we're looking at things are very much the way they were. The leading horses in the race, so to speak, candidates of the PDP and the APC, and then all the other, guys. That's the way the thing has sort of evened out. But that doesn't mean that anything couldn't happen. And one of those guys that we're not talking about now might actually, because after all, it's a future event. And it depends. But people have analyzed it and told us that structure and all of that. But okay, coming back. But the important thing, and I've made this point before, is that it has begun. People apart from the leading contenders and that are serious and that are qualitative candidates have actually come out and the public has seen them. We are hearing that it's a matter of structure and all of that. So the time will come. I believe Professor Shoyinka has aligned himself with those groups, knowing full well that there's no chance really that they'll be winning. But the most important first step has already been taken. Next time is going to be a second step, and so on and so forth. So there are those who think about it like that. But we're still in this situation that requires an honest man, an upright man, somebody that you can depend upon. And a lot of people say Buhari fills those qualifications. You can even throw, Yemi Osinbajo in, Professor Yemi Osinbajo in as well. Why this is important is because perhaps we're at a delicate juncture in our national life. Here we are about to complete 4 years. There's so many Nigerians that believe that we've got to continue more of this so that we can get to where we need to go to. And then the opposition is saying that poppycock, this country has actually been run aground the way it is, and that we have better ideas, we have fresher ideas. And I guess that's what the electorate is going to have to consider, the arguments, and then look at the people who are representing these two lines of, of thought. On the one hand, they will be looking at what the president is bringing to it. On the other hand, they'll be looking at what the former vice president and presidential candidate of the PDP, what he's bringing to the table. It's well, now I'm not going to ask you because you have only one place you're going to go. It's here that I will stay. These are the things that we have to think about. You've got to be looking, perhaps, I'm just trying to think about it the way lawyers talk about right-thinking members of society. The way a right-thinking member of society will be thinking about it probably is, this is where the choice has to be made. You look at what everybody is declaring. And
I think that's, back to where I said at the beginning, I think that's where the focus should be. Those people who are actually the electorate. I still feel it's easy for them to be swayed into political parties. Okay. But they need to stay above the fray. And look at it from a nationalistic point of view. And that's where I'm coming from.
Do you, thank you very much for going there. Do we do that? Look at it from a national... When somebody alleges that $3 million US in something called a cash for vote plot was allegedly uncovered. That's a problem right there. It means there are people who will be swayed not by their own principles, but by however much any given number of dollars will translate into naira, and that will then form my impression.
Yeah. But if you read dates, I've not read it, but
Yes.
you probably realize that they are talking about politicians.
Yes, yes.
This has nothing to do with a common man.
Okay, one second, please. Can I just
Okay.
interrupt you? Umar is in Oshogbo. Good morning, Mr. Umar.
Yeah, good morning.
Thank you very much for calling in. Please go ahead.
I'm actually calling to give my contribution on the rescheduled general election.
Please go ahead.
You see, the president made a speech today at the APC's caucus meeting. And so many Nigerians are saying the world is giving them the sleepless night. And the question I ask is this: if you don't intend to rig election, or if you don't intend to stop the peaceful exercise, why should the president say whosoever is found in the act of ballot snatching or thuggery will do that at the expense of his life? If we are prepared to ourselves as Nigerians, we should applaud the president for such speech, because that is the act of sincerity that he has come out to show to Nigerians. Because we should go out to cast our votes and not having it in mind to disrupt electoral processes. So to me, I think I give the president a kudos with what he has said. And whosoever that is trying to disrupt the peaceful electoral process of this country, God will not only punish that person, but God will not only
People will say, Allah, why won't they pay? Mr. Umar, I understand you. Thank you very much for calling in. Yes, please, sir.
I mean, I've been trying to just say this. I think one thing is very important, and we as Nigerians should look at critically, just like my colleague has mentioned. Let us check what has this government done for the past 4 years. If you look at it, before this government came to power, a lot of people moved away from the then ruling party for a reason that they felt that the country is being run, it's going to be grounded. So everybody moves out because they saw that the whole money in the treasury. Don't forget that before the past government came to power, we have in our foreign reserve over 47 billion US dollars. This you can check yourself. At that time that we have over 47 billion US dollars in our foreign reserve, crude oil rose to above 120 or 100 and thereabout per barrel. So Nigeria actually at that time is making more money in the sale of crude oil. It's making more money and we have more money. But at the end of the day, all this money vanishes. All this money vanishes. Now, if you listen to the former Minister of Finance under Jonathan government, she cried out last year and said, I was saying it to them that we should save this money, but they did not listen to me. Now, do you now know that the opposition tried to package this thing so that people don't even listen to our own opinion? But she was the one in charge of the money. So now all this money has been moved to different countries. I don't want to mention their name, to Asia, to Europe, has been moved to all those places. So if all this money is moved to develop other countries, not our own country, we sell crude oil, the money moves into another country to develop that country, and nobody's saying anything. And that is why I'm saying all Nigerians should rally around, especially the youth and the women, should rally around President Muhammadu Buhari to finish what he has started. In 4 years, there's nothing anybody can do.
Tell me, because of what he spoke about there, he said he wants everybody to rally around, youth and all of that. Well, youth here, we know that apart from some dedicated youth, where the real power is in the numbers of the youth, they seem not to be as interested as they ought to be. What's your experience over there? Youths, do they have a better experience, youths of voting age, or are they also as cavalier?
I think it's the same everywhere. I mean, both in the UK, in the US, you find out.
So that's the same kind of experience.
Yeah, I mean,
so is that your experience? Because our youth, you ask some young people, and they're not interested. They will go through all the motions, pick up, get their PVC, just in case somebody decides that a certain right of yours, show me ID card, show me PVC. They say they got it because of that, but they actually don't intend to use it, unfortunately.
Can I just tell you the good news? The good news and the bad news is this.
One moment, please. I'm being told that I have someone on the line. Good morning, Francis.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for calling in. Please go ahead, sir.
Hello?
I can hear you. Thank you for calling in. Please go ahead with your comment.
Yeah, my contribution is to the... Yeah, good morning. I can hear you. Yes, my own contribution is was saying about... Yeah. Okay. He was talking about the past people that become from the PDP to the APC, and now they are back in PDP. Now, these people that actually have built the APC. To me, this is height of hypocrisy. You cannot be here saying you are want to vote devil. He mentioned it as which you try to correct me. It's wrong. These people, you were with them, you dine with them, you eat with them. And you came into power. Now you remember they are corrupt. No, that's not the way to move this country forward. Until we stop the politics of bitterness, this country is not going anywhere. We should see it as leadership should be something that is from your mind. You want to serve your nation. That is unfair. I'm just working on him saying all this, but it's very, very wrong.
Okay.
The Atiku Abubakar you were making reference to,
all right.
The man was actually in front line to see that this present government come into power. If he really is not satisfied, if he can't, he went back to PDP, you cannot see him as devil. Even when he was making reference to institutions in Nigeria, he mentioned the institution.
All right, Francis. Thank you very much for calling in.
Well, please. I think I should just clear something.
Sure.
It is not all members of PDP that are bad people, that are corrupt people. And it's not all members of APC that are saints. What I'm saying is we have one who is a saint, who you know, even the man that just called her knows, that President Muhammadu Buhari and the Vice President, Yomi Shibaju, they are outstanding people, recognized all over the world from being decent. Two, we have like Didi Joati. He's a member of PDP. He's a very wonderful and honest man. That I know him as much as that. That doesn't mean that everybody there are the same. But what I'm saying, I'm talking about the past government, the activities that took place in the past government. If it is not true, then tell me that it's not true. Tell me that we never have over 47 billion US dollars in our foreign reserve in the last government. Now tell me that crude oil was not sold above $100. Tell me, then I will now say I'm wrong. But you know I'm not wrong. The past government never saved kobo for the rainy days. The money that is in our foreign reserve, this is what I'm saying.
Okay, all right. I hear you. Good morning, Peter, in Lagos.
Yeah, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling.
Right. I just want to make some few points.
Yes.
First of all, the people who the prince is talking about, majority of them went to APC from PDP, right, to get President Muhammad Buhari in. Okay? Now, the moment they were in APC, they were all saints, right? Every point that he made about the money and everything, fine. But these same people are still in APC right now. That's number one. Number two, the president said he can't dip his hand into the coffers of the nation to fund his campaign. What about the governors? Who is funding the campaign? Didn't they dip money into the hands of into their hands in the coffers to fund the president's campaign? Let's look at different issues. Let's look at issues perspectively. I live in the UK. In fact, I'm from the UK. I came to Nigeria last week, right? This system doesn't work like this in the UK. right? Like the other gentleman said, right? For the past 30 years that I've been in the UK, I've been voting. I've never seen a policeman in any polling booth that I've voted. Thank you very much. God bless Nigeria.
Indeed, thank you very much. Okay. You didn't want to come in.
Yeah, because,
I'll come back to you too.
And back to what I said at the beginning. I mean, the politicians will always be politicians. But I am interested in those 9 million children who have been fed. What's going to happen to them? Because I've not heard anybody give an alternative or a supplementary thing. I've not heard any party say, okay, we have 9 million children who are being fed on a daily basis. Once we come in, we are going to increase their meal to 2, or we are going to increase the ration. Nobody is talking about it. And that's where I fear that what is going to happen if there's a change to those people who are getting conditional cash transfers, those old women, the poorest of the poor, what's the plan for them? If this leaves, what happens? And I think that's
what's the social agenda.
Yeah, so that should be, I think, in the mind of most people. Beyond all these rhetorics of somebody did this, somebody did that. What happens to the real Nigerians?
Okay.
And what's the plan?
Prince Edward, I'll come to you, but let me quickly bring in Mr. George from Ikeja. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori, and good morning to the guests.
Thank you very much.
Your new setup is very beautiful. I like it.
Okay, they're going to see another one soon. Thank you very much.
Uncle Yori, there is no doubt that any sane person, where he should place his trust between two people, cannot be in doubt. Two people, one of them says, I am going to sell the resources of this country to benefit my friends, and I'm going to grant amnesty to all looters. The other one says, nobody takes 1 kobo from the public funds. If you take, I will jail you. He went to the extent of docking number 3 man in the country and docking the... Where do you think the the trust, who would you place your trust on? It's not in doubt, Uncle Yori. The gentleman on the right has said so much that I don't need to repeat them. This is a government, this is the only president that I know in this our country that has come out to say corruption must die. We have 73 people on the ballot. I have listened to all of them. There is no other one that is saying, I want to kill corruption. They are talking about sharing. Not even the younger ones. And yet, corruption is the main problem we have in this country. If there is no corruption, there will be light. If there is no corruption, there will be good schools. If there is no corruption, there will be good health system. If there is no corruption, people will not be hungry. And yet, people are not ready to address that. This is the only man that has come out to say, I'm going to address it. It's because of corruption we have not had rail system in 16 years. It's because of corruption we don't have good roads. It's because of corruption that the second Niger bridge never came up, even though it was pronounced several times in a day. And people are still saying that you want to support this. For me, it will not happen. The postponement that happened is very, very unfortunate. Uncle Yori, I tried to reach you yesterday. I couldn't.
Oh, okay.
But the issue is this. Election is about management of logistics. You have 4 years to do this management of logistics. And 5 hours to the election, you come and tell me that you have reasons to postpone it. That is gross incompetence. In my view, it is incompetence. If I have my way to the president, I will ask him to replace the Iron Chairman with Mike Guinea. Good morning.
Thank you very much for calling in. I appreciate your call.
I need to respond to the previous caller.
Okay.
I am very much happy that the previous caller agreed with me that we have so much money in our foreign reserve and crude oil was sold above $100 and all this money vanishes. I'm very happy that he agrees. Now, do you know these are informations that the common man on the street is not even aware of? That the previous government, the Jonathan government, at that time did not save 1 cent, not even $1 for Nigeria, either from crude oil or from gas. It did not save 1 naira, either from VAT or from custom. All this money vanishes. Now, even the over $47 billion in our foreign reserve was reduced to 25, and loan of 15 billion was also taken. Now, this is the problem. Now, somebody now expects another government that came in that never planned, never knew that crude oil will fall. We are not God, we are human. We cannot determine what's going to happen tomorrow. Everybody, he himself, the president himself will have assumed that the rate at which the crude oil was going 100 and above will have been. But unfortunately, the President Muhammadu Buhari government came to power, and immediately the crude oil went down to 28. So, and within these small resources, this man has been able to do a lot. He has been able to add to our electricity. He has been able to look at even Lagos-Ibadan expressway that they could not even do in 16 years. But you can see now that the man is working very hard. Okay. About Port Harcourt road. Look at it. The man is doing it in 16 years. They cannot do it. This are the Mambila Power Project that they should have finished it. They couldn't do it. Okay. The red line, they couldn't touch it.
Let me bring Mr. Okeke in. Good morning, Mr. Okeke.
Yeah, good morning, my friend.
Thank you for calling in. Good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Thank you.
Please, the man still talking is letting me for not talking.
Mr. Okeke, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, my friend. How are you?
Go ahead, sir. What's your comment?
Please, I want to ask that man, the man that just finished talking now. I know vividly in 1999, in the 90s. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
I know vividly in the 90s. Tinubu Akowaju was one of the people that was leading restructuring through Nedeco.
Mr. Okeke. Mr. Okeke. I don't know. Okay. Sorry about that. Because we really are pressed for time. Mr. Okeke, something happened. Maybe you can't hear us anymore. We can still hear your phone rustling, but sorry, we can't hear you anymore. He was going to make a point, but he couldn't because he just got up to Ashwaju Tinubu. I think was going back to 89 or something like that. But he was talking about restructuring. Are you back now, Mr. Okeke?
I'm hearing you clearly. Don't interrupt my talk, please. This is the point, because the owner of that media is Tinubu. That's why you always one-sided analytical of issues.
Mr. Okeke, we're not quarreling now. Please continue.
Yeah, I'm talking. It's not allowing me to talk.
Okay, carry on, sir. Please carry on.
Look, that man over there is not saying the truth. Tinubu was leading Medeco. Tinubu was part of restructuring. Why is this man? Why is this? Everybody knows what restructuring would do in this country. Nobody's talking. This man is here saying Buhari. Which Buhari? Buhari is in Nigeria. We're talking about building institutions. Give us restructuring so that people in your place, you can be able to devote yourself to your...
You can't blame that one on me, Mr. Okeke. That one you can't blame on me. Even the earlier ones. But sometimes the network is like that. Because it seems to him as if everybody knows we're waiting patiently for him to make his point. But I think he was taking exception at your preference. No problem there. It clearly shows that is his preference. Because he said, which Buhari? No problem. No problem. You don't need to respond to that. Because there's no need to, because there will always be different. There are many candidates out there. So there's no need to respond to it. Mr. Okeke let us know that on the day of the vote, it's very, very unlikely he will be casting his vote the way you will be casting your vote. I think that much he made clear, and it's his prerogative. It's his right. We've actually almost we've actually run out of time. But okay, I've been asked to take Daniel. Good morning, Daniel.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead, please.
I want to say that I confirm what the man there said, because I was with a friend, and he was telling me about his boss that went to Abuja to talk to the president about the issue of campaign and his elections. Mm-hmm. And the president told him specifically that they are not going to take any money out of the treasury. I heard that. My friend told me specifically that, so I can admit that to what the man is saying. That is just the point I want to raise. Then I want to say again that crude oil prices went very, very low when this government came into power. Mm-hmm. And they've been able to do more with less amount of money they've been able to have. They've done very, very much. And I feel every state Nigerian should support this government and let them consolidate on what they've done. Thank you very much.
All right, then. Well, actually, we have to leave it there. I don't think we have the time anymore but I want to thank you, gentlemen, making very good use of the extra days of campaigning you have done, but also thank you very much, Mr. Adipo Akinrinlade, visiting from the UK, safe trip back, and also Prince Ebonla Martins. Thank you very much for coming on as well. So that's our program. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.